Hi, I'm Ron Jackson with Acoustic Guitar, and this is a weekly workout on the style of the great rhythm guitarist Freddie from the Count Basie Orchestra. So this is a weekly workout about his style called the Freddie style of guitar playing. Now, this style of guitar playing was developed by Freddie when he was playing with the Count Basie Orchestra for about 50 years with a basic acoustic arch chop guitar. I'm using a regular acoustic steel string, which you can practice with too, because most people don't own an arch top, okay? And basically he just played 4 quarter notes per measure all the time practically in this band for about 50 years. So this style is really an interesting style that is seldomly mastered in general, okay? So I'm gonna try to help you master this style in this weekly workout, okay? So the style is basically where you play strums every 4 beats, and your goal is to actually get this together and practice this with a metronome on 2 and 4 to keep things tight, okay? In the following examples in the next 4 weeks. So I suggest you get a metronome and you set it to 2 and 4 and practice with that, and look at the examples and the beginner tips as well to get acclimated with this style, okay? So let's get into week 1, okay? Now, this week 1, we're gonna review the most common diatonic, which means in the same key. We're gonna be in the key of C in this lesson, okay? Which is a C major scale. Now, example number 1 is the diatonic 7th chords in the key of C, the C major scale, played from the 5th string root up and down the neck. We're going to go up in this example, okay? I'm not going to use a metronome yet in this example. So this is very, very common. So example number 1, let's play this for you, okay? Here we go. Example number 1, slowly. Go. Your goal with these examples is to practice this and memorize them by heart, okay? I would practice this backwards too, as well as up the neck and down the neck as far as backwards is concerned, okay? Now, example number 2 is the same thing, but with the 6th string root chords. Now, I don't go all the way up the neck here, but you can practice them up the neck, but it gets really hard to play the voicing, so I actually go from here. Let's go back down to from the F major 7 chord. So, example number 2, here we go. At a time. So that was example number 2. You notice these are all 4-note voicings, okay? And that example number 2 was the 6th string root chord. So here comes example number 3. In example number 3, we actually take out the 5th of the chord. Now the 5th is not very essential in jazz chords and 7th chords particularly. So usually we'll play the root 3rd and 7th, which really defines the chord, and the 5th, you know, could be thrown in there sometimes, depending. So this is very common in the Freddie style of playing, to play the chord without the 5th. So example number 3 is the same thing as example number 1, but without the 5th. So here we go. At a time. So that was example number 3. Example number 4 is the same thing as example number 3, but we take the note that was on top, which was the E, or the 3rd of the chord, okay? We drop it down an octave. We get this 3-note voicing, which is very common in the Freddie style of comping. So here's example number 4. So these notes are actually 3 adjacent notes or strings played together. The 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. Here we go. Example number 4, out of time. So, example number 5, we're going to actually play up the scale again using the 6th string root this time, okay? So it's just going to be root, 3rd and 7th, is exactly the same as example number 2 actually, where we omit the 5th. So here's example number 5. Here we go. Out of time. So, that's week 1 of your weekly workout. Your goal is to memorize the basic voicings and the voicings without the 5th by heart, because you'll be using these voicings and these chords in all kinds of jazz songs, okay? Week 2. Okay, example number 6 uses the same chord shapes as example number 1 and 2, but in common chord progressions, okay? The first 2 bars of example number 6 is actually what we call a 1-6-2-5 progression in the key of C again, okay? And then the second half, or the second 2 bars of the song, of this example, is a 3-6-2-5, which is very common also. So let me play this example so you can hear what it sounds like. Here we go. I'm going to play it real slow this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you notice now that we're playing a song, how I'm actually accenting the 2 and 4 of the song like this. I'm actually stopping it a little bit. Okay? No, so this progression actually plays between the 5th and 6th string roots of the chord, so we can actually play in the same area. You see this? Without jumping around the neck to play the next chord, okay, on the same root. So you're going to be combining chords from different string roots now. So example number 7 is the same thing as example number 6, but without the 5th inside, okay? So here we go. Example number 7 is the same chord progression, but without the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, example number 7, you notice how we play in the last 2 bars of that, which is the E minor, 7 to the A7 to D minor 7 to G7. We actually use 3-note voicings at the end there, okay? Like this. The adjacent string voicing on the E minor and D minor. So we combine everything now. Okay, great. So, example number 8 and 9 in week 2, we take the same approach as examples number 6 and 7, but the first chord of each bar is rooted on the 6th string this time, okay? and the second one on the fifth string. Okay, so here we go. Here's example number 8 first. Here we go. So now we're going to go to example number 9, and you'll see a common chord tone in action. Okay, on the highest note of the D minor 7 and G7 chord, is the F note on top. Okay, you'll see this extend to the pattern of the E minor and A7 chord. So here's example number 9. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, in example number 9, you'll see that there's a common tone on the D minor 7 and G7 chord. We'll play through this, and then you can see if you can actually extend this to the E minor and A7 chord in your playing. Okay, so here we go. Example number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So that was week number 2.